In 1975, the journey did begin.
With songs about the blacksmith.
So, after 50 years open here, we're delighted to have Foster and Alan eventually come to the shop. Foster and Alan are 50 years on the road, and Mick and Tony have called in to see us. You're very welcome, guys. Good
Thanks
to see
very
us.
much.
Good to
Thank
see
you.
How are you doing, Raymond?
Tony's been here before, but Mick is here.
No, never. I was hardly ever in Dungannon before, now and again.
So why would you come to Dungannon only to come to a good music shop?
Now you have it.
Tell me, I was thinking 50 years is a long time, guys.
I'm down here in the same job.
And no redundancy or no pension or nothing.
I'd say yes, I've seen some changes in 50 years in the music business.
Well, unbelievable in the kind of gigs, like when we started first, we used to play the 31 nights of July and August. You know, they were all singing pubs and they were all down south. And, you know, you could, every night of the week we were playing, and there was a few places that it didn't matter whether you played on a Saturday night or a Monday night, they were still packed.
Aye, yeah.
Different job now.
Different times now, different times. I know in the 50 years that we're open here, like the music business has changed too. It was, suppose it was vinyl and 7-inch back then, and now it's
The shop would have been full of LPs, the one.
The shop would have been full of LPs, yeah, and people just tape recorders,
Cassettes, yeah.
Cassettes, yeah, it was great back then. What was it? The Blacksmith was the first single you
The
said?
Rambles of Spring was the
Is
first
that right?
single we ever did, yeah. Tommy Makeham's song. Mick sang it. It was great. It was a huge, what we call a turntable hit. It got loads and loads of radio play. It didn't chart anywhere. But then we followed it up with A Bunch of Time, and that kind of happened by accident because Tony didn't want to release that as a single at all. He didn't even want to put it in the album, on the
That's
LP.
record executive space.
Yeah, and
That's
him
what
and Liam Hurley, who produced it, said to Tony, you have to bring that out as a single. And it was a huge success both in Ireland and of course it charted in England as well.
What year was that?
Yeah, 79 here in Ireland and 82 then in the UK on Top of the Pops.
For time, it is a precious thing, and time brings all things to my mind.
Was 75 the release of Rambles of Spring then?
No, it was
first year.
probably,
Well, the Blacksmith was 75 or 6, wasn't it?
the Rambles of Spring was first, and then the Blacksmith, and then the Bunch of Time, or the other way around. It could have been the Blacksmith first, then the Rambles of Spring.
Yeah.
Can't remember that far back. When you get to my age, it's very hard to remember back 50 years.
No, I was looking back there this morning, 1975 in the shop, Bohemian Rhapsody and Queen,
Wow.
and you are still on the road.
Yeah, they're gone. we definitely weren't doing that on stage now.
No. If you're going to talk about Queen and stuff like that, you may talk to him.
Oh, he looks like a real fan. But then I suppose it took off for you in England.
Yeah, well, we were doing a bit of work in England, the Irish centres and Irish pubs in England,
Aye.
you know. And then, of course, when The Bunch of Time hit the charts, it changed the whole thing. That was early 82. By the end of 82, we had started doing the concerts in the
Yeah.
UK. And then we were awful lucky that, well, first of all, we were with Ritz Records, who were brilliant at the time. And, like, we followed up the... when The Bunch of Time hit the charts, we recorded Maggie, Old Flames, both of them charted in the UK. Maggie went to #1 in Australia and New Zealand for 5 weeks in both places. So that took us, it opened up the whole thing for us, you know. And then I Will Love You All My Life went into the charts in South Africa.
Yeah.
So that took us down there as well. But then, I think it was 85 we did, after all these years, wasn't it?
After, yeah, 85.
Yeah,
and
that's right, yeah.
85 was our first year to tour South Africa.
Yeah.
And
was the Irish songs, just the songs that were popular over here, were as popular, same songs, or was it a different type of song that
No, anything we did here was what was released everywhere, you know. So Maggie was released in Australia and New Zealand, and that really, I mean, we toured Australia, New Zealand, well, Australia 20 times.
Wow. Tell me, a question I want to ask you, when you started out, who done the driving?
both
It's
of
his
us.
van, so yeah.
It was my van, but both of us did the driving. But then when we got to London, I definitely drove and Tony navigated with a map.
With a map,
There was
yeah.
no sat navs or
Uh-huh.
nothing then. But and you know, we never got lost or anything like that. He was a great navigator, as good as a sat nav.
Good at giving directions.
Yeah.
Not as good as Myra as the second.
Well, Myra's an exception.
I've seen it, and I was also doing some Googling there. I see in 1975, Tommy, when that came out, will Stand By Your Man.
All right. Stand by your van.
Stand By Your Van.
Yeah.
There's been some changes. What was the biggest blunder you ever made on stage?
Going on stage.
Giving up the day job, maybe. But no, we never had any blunders, nor we never had any hassle, nor we never had any hecklers, nor nothing like that. Maybe they took pity on two lads from the bog, like, and left us alone. But no, we never had a blunder on radio or television or on stage. No, we often forgot words.
Yeah, that happens still.
But we were very good at you know, we composed straight away. We found out that if you don't stop, no one is going to know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, we have a strategy here in the shop. If anybody comes in looking for a song, some people say, I heard this song on the radio or something. You must have recorded nearly everything, because the first place to go to is Foster and Allen. They all have recorded
We'll
it.
have it, yeah.
Yeah, we've done nearly 1,000.
Is that right?
Yeah, between songs and instrumentals and all kinds of stuff, we've recorded almost 1,000 titles, you know.
Yeah, that's dead. Because remember, when we started here, well, of course, there was ourselves, 1975. Ralph Brown had a record shop here in Dungannon. There's a music lounge. Johnny Lahern had a shop, and I think Bertie Sweeney's shop was probably closed by that stage. But over all them years, like, people have always come in for Foster and Allen, Maggie, Bunch of Time.
We did a lot of work over the years with Bertie Sweeney.
Is that right?
Oh,
Yeah.
We used to do the Arts Theatre in Belfast.
He's a great.
He was class.
He was great. He was great.
And he was
Great
great crack.
But we have sold a lot of Foster and Allen, and you have a new album out now, 50 years.
Yeah,
50 on 50.
I think we have. Have we got it here, Brian? We have.
50 for 50.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of questions asked if they don't have it.
Glad we have it down. You have a track that was written by Derek Ryan, and you also have a track on it with Martin
Finn, yeah.
Martin Finn.
Yeah.
Tell me, Martin.
Well, Martin is autistic. He can't speak, he can't communicate at all, really, with people, but he can sing. It was a guy called John Lowry
Yes, I know John.
in Manchester, rang Seamus O'Connor, who does all our PR in the UK, and said this young lad wanted to. He's been singing around for a long time in different places, but he wanted to do something with somebody, and we said, yeah, well, sure, we'll do it. But didn't realise until we worked with him how interesting he is. You know, I mean, he's an amazing man. He can't communicate, he can't stay quiet. He just keeps singing all day to himself, and yet. I was speaking to the father when we decided to do this, and I said, what way will he work, you know? He says, you just record the song and send it over, and he'll learn it exactly as you're doing. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You find it in a deepest friendship, the kind you cherish all your life. When you know how much that means, and you found that special thing, you're flying without weight.
Well, that's the new album. It's on sale. You'll get used to sign a few boys
Oh, there we
Yeah.
go,
before
boy.
you go.
Yeah.
And thanks a
After
million.
earning a cup of tea.
Or the coffee. Keep us awake.
Thanks about. You still involved in the horses and stuff?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Not as bad as we were, or as good as we were, or whatever, but I've handed over that carry on to my grandson now, and he used to ride a lot of point-to-points and stuff like that, but he's involved, himself and a friend of his, but when the horse is home for a rest, it comes to Meyer and myself, and we wind up feeding them up and out, and you know, they get the glory when it wins, and
You do all the hard
we
work.
get them out.
You get the money.
And Tony, you've been down the shop a few times, so it's good to see you back
I have,
again.
yeah.
And your
Oh,
new
yeah.
album, we've done well with it here too.
Yeah,
and
thank you
Mix
very
as
much.
well. Keely, and what was yours?
Kelly all the time, yeah.
Yeah,
Keely and
well,
Old Time,
yeah.
yeah, two guys.
Yeah.
And I love that Willie Nelson song.
I don't know a thing
I
about
don't know a
it.
thing about that. Well, that's the boys' new album there. We'll have it here, and they're going to sign a bunch of them here for us now. And thanks for coming down, boys.
no bother.
In another 50 years, we'll be back
Yeah,
again.
yeah, we'll meet here again. God knows what to be on the shelves, but
Yeah.
we'll be here.
Well, good to see you, boys. Thanks a
No
million.
bother, take care.
All right.
Thanks.
Miss Dunvarley, here I come. come, there's life in the old dog yet. We thought Maggie Lynch would be left sitting on